Welcome to New Possibilities. I speak truth to power without fear. Today I came across an article that deals with basketball player Kobe Bryant. There's been a lot of news about this issue. Apparently, he did an interview with the New Yorker magazine, and they asked him what did he think about the whole Trayvon Martin case. And more specifically, they asked him about the Miami Heat players posing in hoodies to remember and honor Trayvon Martin. And here's what Kobe Bryant said. He says, I won't react to something just because I'm supposed to, because I'm an African American, he said. That argument doesn't make any sense to me. So we want to advance as a society and a culture, but say if something happens to an African American, we must immediately come to his defense. Yet you want to talk about how far we've progressed as a society. Well, we've progressed as a society. Then don't jump to someone's defense just because they're African American. You sit and listen to the facts just like you would in any other situation, right? So I won't assert myself. Okay, so that's his statement. And I just want to provide my commentary about this statement briefly. First of all, it's important for us to understand that someone like Kobe Bryant, he is so far removed from the black community. He probably doesn't even really identify with the typical African American or the common African American or common person for that matter. His experience is so far removed from our experience that, he probably doesn't even think of matters of race. And that's the way a lot of these people are. Um, the days where you had athletes like Muhammad Ali and others, that had the courage to speak out. And somebody like Paul Robeson, who was a great football player in college. He was a scholar and an athlete. The days when you have, athletes like that who are willing to speak out are very rare. So it's not uncommon for somebody to take a stance like Kobe Bryant. And actually, it was rare to see, something like what the Miami Heat did. And I commend them for their actions. I wish more basketball players and more athletes and entertainers would take stands on issues that matter to the community. It's just a shame that, we have a lot of athletes like Kobe Bryant. And, they basically have been bought off. People like Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, and Tiger Woods, they couldn't care less about the black community. They couldn't care less about the death of Trayvon Martin. In their mind, things like that are irrelevant in their lives. And, I just want to go into a little bit of discussion about some of the things that he said in this interview. He talked about progress as a society. He suggested that people shouldn't talk about race. And he implied that that will, in a sense, help society advance if we don't talk about race. But that does not help society advance. It helps society ignore reality. It helps society continue to perpetuate rather the status quo of white supremacy and racism. If you ignore the problem, you don't address it, then the problem continues to fester and gets worse. So we can't downplay issues of race so that we can have the facade of racial harmony. Racial harmony and peace and justice must be based on reality and not an illusion. So I have a big problem with this, and I just have a problem with someone who just doesn't empathize with the black community, doesn't sympathize or identify with the black community. Nobody's asking Kobe Bryant to jump on a bandwagon just because someone is African American. Here we had a young brother hunted down, targeted just because he was black. There's no other reason why that brother should have been identified as being suspicious. I mean, if he wasn't black, there's no doubt in my mind that that clown, that killer, George Zimmerman, he probably wouldn't even stopped Trayvon Martin. He wouldn't have asked him questions if Trayvon Martin was white. He wouldn't have called the police on Trayvon Martin if he was a white boy. And he damn sure wouldn't have got off. He wouldn't have gotten away with killing Trayvon Martin if Trayvon Martin was white. And this whole case, it was about racism. It's about a young brother being killed for nothing, being hunted down like an animal for no reason other than the color of his skin. And it's a shame that even somebody with money and power and influence like Kobe Bryant doesn't have the courage or doesn't have the foresight or insight to even utter a word in defense of this brother. And it's not about just Trayvon Martin being black. It's about a fundamental sense of justice. It's a question of right and wrong. And what happened to this brother was wrong. He was shot in the heart. His life was snuffed out before he could even turn 18. And, it's just funny how these entertainers, they completely distance themselves from the black community. They don't care anything about black people. But yet, when these people find themselves in a tight spot, like O.J. Simpson, we're the ones defending them. We're the ones rallying around them. Like we rallied around O.J. Simpson, like some of us rallied around Tiger Woods, even though these people couldn't care less about black people. And it's a shame. I mean, I wish these people would have some kind of concern for their community. I wish they would give back more to their community. And perhaps there are things that Kobe Bryant is doing in the community that I'm not aware of. But I just think that, statements like this are not helpful. And, they just reflect the mentality of a lot of these people. A lot of these people that just don't care about their community. They just have no regard for their community at all.